Chiefs draft Josh Simmons, a strategic move in Round 1. The first round of the 2025 NFL Draft was a wild ride, and the Kansas City Chiefs made a bold move by selecting Ohio State left tackle Josh Simmons at pick 32. Many fans and analysts, myself included, were unsure if Simmons would still be available at the end of the round or if his patellar tendon injury would scare teams away. Spoiler alert, the Chiefs got their guy, and they did it with a savvy trade that netted them an extra fifth-round pick. A rare offensive tackle pick for KC. This marks the first time since 2013, when they drafted Eric Fisher, that the Chiefs have taken an offensive tackle in the first round. Given their consistent success under Andy Reid, Kansas City often picks at the back of the draft, making it tough to land elite tackle talent. The hope is that Simmons, despite his injury, can develop into a cornerstone of their offensive line. The draft's early tackle run. A flurry of offensive tackles went off the board early. Will Campbell, Armand Mimieux, and Kelvin Banks Jr. were all top 10 picks, which raised doubts about Simmons' availability. Meanwhile, tight ends made history, with 2 going in the top 14, and defensive linemen like Kenneth Grant, 13th, Walter Nolan, 16th, and Shamar Stewart, 17th, were snatched up quickly. The Falcons even traded up from 46 to 26 for edge rusher James Pierce Jr., shaking up the board. With the Texans needing a tackle but out of the first round and the Commanders grabbing Oregon's Josh Connolly Jr. at 29, the Chiefs were in a prime spot to land Simmons. The question lingers, if both Connolly and Simmons were available, who would KC have chosen? We'll never know, but they seem thrilled with their pick. A clever trade with Philly. In a surprising move, the Chiefs traded back one spot with the Philadelphia Eagles, who moved up from 32 to 31 to grab linebacker Jayad Campbell. When Eagles GM Howie Roseman called, Chiefs GM Brett Veach asked if Philly's target was an offensive or defensive player. Roseman confirmed it was a defender, giving Veach confidence that Simmons would still be there at 32. The trade also landed Kansas City a fifth-round pick, a valuable addition to a draft class that previously lacked a fifth-rounder. This move was critical. The Chiefs' draft capital was limited: a first, a second, 2/3, a fourth, a sixth, and 3/7. Adding a fifth-rounder provides more flexibility to address other needs like defensive tackle, edge, running back, or wide receiver in rounds 2 through 4, where Veach sees significant value. Simmons' injury. Risk versus reward. Simmons' patellar tendon injury, which cut his 2024 season short, was a major factor in his slide to pick 32. However, the Chiefs' medical staff, led by head trainer Rick Burkholder, is optimistic. Burkholder thoroughly evaluated Simmons, noting that his knee has healed well and he's ahead of schedule in his recovery. While it's unclear if Simmons will participate in rookie minicamp, the team expects him to be ready by training camp and potentially earlier. The Chiefs did their homework, meeting Simmons at the Combine, hosting him for a top 30 visit, and conducting multiple Zoom calls, including one the day before the draft to test his playbook retention. Head coach Andy Reid and Veach were impressed with his progress and football IQ, which eased concerns about his maturity and character, issues flagged by some teams, per ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. Dr. Jesse Morse has noted that offensive linemen face higher risks recovering from patellar tendon injuries compared to other positions. However, examples like Brandon Graham, who tore his patellar tendon in 2010 and enjoyed a long, successful career, offer hope. The Chiefs are banking on Simmons following a similar path. Why Simmons is a steal. Despite his injury, Simmons was a standout on tape. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported that several teams viewed him as having the best film among offensive tackles in 2024. His stats back this up. In his injury-shortened 2024 season, he allowed just one pressure on 152 pass-blocking snaps, with a pressure rate of 0.7%, a massive improvement from 6.1% in 2022 and 3.5% in 2023. In 2023, he allowed only one sack in 13 games for Ohio State. Analysts are raving about the pick. The Athletic's Dane Brugler ranked Simmons as the third-best offensive tackle in the class, while John Ledgard of Audibles and Analytics called him his sixth overall player and a potential steal of the draft, if healthy. Amazon's next-gen stats model rated Simmons as the fifth-best value pick in round 1. Even with concerns about his arm length, 33 inches at the Combine, though Brugler reported 34 1/8 inches at his pro day, his tape and metrics scream potential. Addressing a critical need. The Chiefs' offensive line struggled in 2024, falters, as the Eagles dominated Kansas City's front. Protecting Mahomes is priority number 1, And Simmons, even if he redshirts in 2025 behind Jalen Moore, signed to a 2-year, $30 million deal, adds crucial depth and long-term upside. Critics might argue that Moore's presence makes this pick redundant, but that overlooks the importance of depth. If Moore goes down, the alternatives, like Kingsley Suamataia or Wanya Morris on the left side, are far from ideal. Simmons provides insurance and could eventually replace Moore or Jawan Taylor, whose contract can be shed after 2025. With Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith commanding top dollar, securing a cost-controlled tackle like Simmons is a smart financial move. Looking ahead, Simmons may not make an immediate impact, but his selection signals the Chiefs' commitment to fortifying their trenches. With additional picks in rounds 2 through 5, they can address other needs while grooming Simmons for a starting role. The combination of his elite tape, the extra 5th-round pick, and the medical staff's confidence makes this a calculated risk with massive upside. What do you think of the Josh Simmons pick? Are you worried about his injury, or does the Chiefs' thorough evaluation give you confidence? Drop your thoughts below, and let's talk about Night 2 of the draft. Chiefs sign UDFA running back Qualin Jones, a long shot worth watching. The Kansas City Chiefs have added another undrafted free agent to their 90-man roster, signing running back Qualin Jones out of Stephen F. Austin. While this move might not make headlines, it's a fascinating gamble on a powerful back with an intriguing story. Let's break down who Jones is, why the Chiefs took a flyer on him, and what he could bring to Kansas City. Qualin Jones' college journey. Jones' name might ring a bell for some fans, as he spent 4 years at Baylor before transferring to Stephen F. Austin for the 2024 season. His college stats tell the story of a power back with untapped potential. 2024, Stephen F. Austin 147 carries, 779 yards, 5.3 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns, 52-yard long, 13 receptions for 80 yards. 2022, Baylor 92 carries, 462 yards, 5.0 yards per carry, 7 touchdowns, 23 receptions for 135 yards. 2021, Baylor 34 carries, 124 yards. 2020, Baylor 13 carries, 103 yards. Notably, Jones didn't play in 2023, a gap tied to a suspension from Baylor in 2022. While the details are murky, it seems there was mutual frustration, possibly over playing time, with younger backs emerging at Baylor. Jones took a year away from football before resurfacing at Stephen F. Austin, where he showed dedication and productivity. Why this signing raises eyebrows? Jones' departure from Baylor could be seen as a red flag, but context matters. Young athletes sometimes clash with coaches or programs, especially if they feel overlooked. If Jones' exit stemmed from a dispute over carries, his decision to step away, regroup, and dominate at a smaller program suggests maturity and resilience. The Chiefs' decision to give him a UDFA contract, rather than just a rookie minicamp invite, signals they see something in his game worth exploring. At 5 feet 9 inches or 5 feet 10 inches and weighing between 221 and 243 pounds, Jones is a bruising back built for contact. His physical transformation from his Baylor days, 2022, to Stephen F. Austin, 2024, is striking. At his pro day, he posted a 4.49-second 40-yard dash, a 37-inch vertical, and a 10 feet 6 inches broad jump. Impressive numbers for a player potentially heavier than some NFL edge rushers. This transformation could reflect an intense work ethic, which bodes well for his commitment to making it in the NFL. Strengths and concerns. Jones' tape reveals a power back with excellent vision and a knack for finding holes. His Stephen F. Austin highlights show a choppier stride compared to his smoother, deceptively fast Baylor days, likely due to added weight. At 243 pounds, he's a load to bring down, with a stiff arm and a Marshawn Lynch-like willingness to lower his shoulder. Clips of him bulldozing defenders evoke Derrick Henry's high school tape. However, his added bulk may have cost him some agility. His cutting ability, once a strength at Baylor, looks labored, though still effective. In the passing game, Jones struggles to turn his head quickly in the flats, requiring a full torso twist, potentially limiting his role as a receiver. Still, his sturdy frame makes him a candidate for pass protection, which could see him compete for a fullback-like role, similar to Carson Steele. Fit with the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been aggressive in bolstering their running back room this offseason, adding Elijah Mitchell, Brashard Smith, looking for depth and competition. Jones' size and style could make him a fan favorite in training camp, where his physicality will make shoulder pads pop. Could Jones challenge Steele for a fullback role? Steele, another UDFA, had a solid but unspectacular 2024, missing chances to seize a bigger role. Jones' power and blocking ability could make him a dark horse in this competition, though his lack of polish in the passing game might limit his versatility. The bottom line. Jones is a long shot to make the Chiefs' 53-man roster, with established backs like Hunt and Pacheco ahead of him, plus other newcomers vying for spots. However, his UDFA contract suggests Kansas City sees potential worth developing. If his physical transformation and 2024 performance reflect a renewed work ethic, he could surprise in camp. At worst, he's a low-risk cut during roster trim-downs. What excites me is the experiment. A 243-pound back running a 4.49 and hitting linebackers like a freight train? That's worth watching. If Jones can refine his agility and prove he's moved past his Baylor drama, he could carve out a niche. Drop your thoughts below. Are you intrigued by Qualin Jones, or is this just another UDFA flyer? Let's talk Chiefs football. Fantasy Football 2025. Are the Chiefs' new wide receivers upside picks or potential busts? The Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver room has undergone a significant overhaul for the 2025 season, creating intrigue for fantasy football managers. With Patrick Mahomes at the helm, the Chiefs' passing game remains a goldmine, but the question is whether their new and returning receivers, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, and rookie Jalen Royals, will deliver consistent fantasy value or fall short as busts. Let's dive into each player's outlook, weighing their upside against the risks. Marquise Hollywood Brown, the veteran X-Factor. 2024 recap. Brown's first season with the Chiefs was derailed by a preseason shoulder injury, limiting him to just a few games. When healthy, he showed flashes of explosiveness, opening up the offense with his speed and earning praise from teammates like Travis Kelce for his dynamic presence. 2025 outlook. Re-signed to a one-year, $11 million deal, Brown is poised to be a key piece of Kansas City's passing attack. His familiarity with Andy Reid's system and rapport with Mahomes give him a leg up, especially early in the season if Rashee Rice faces a suspension. Brown's career per route efficiency suggests he can be a high-end WR2 if he stays healthy, but his injury history, missing time in 3 of his 6 NFL seasons, is a red flag. Upside, Brown's speed stretches defenses, creating big play opportunities in an offense that led the NFL in passing yards in 2022. With Mahomes targeting him in high-leverage situations, he could post 800 to 1,000 yards and 6 to 8 touchdowns, making him a WR2 with WR1 weeks in PPR leagues. Bust risk. Injuries remain the biggest concern. If Brown can't stay on the field, or if Rice and Worthy command more targets, his production could stagnate, leaving him as a boom or bust WR3. His ADP, likely WR30-35, may overprice his risk. Verdict. Upside. Brown's fit in Kansas City and Mahomes' trust make him a solid flex play with WR2 potential, but draft him cautiously due to health concerns. Xavier Worthy, Year 2 leap or sophomore slump. 2024 recap. The first-round rookie posted modest numbers, 59 receptions, 538 yards, and 9 total touchdowns, but showed growth late in the season. His 8-catch, 157-yard, 2 TD performance in Super Bowl 59, despite the loss, highlighted his potential. Worthy's 4.21-second 40-yard dash made him a deep threat, though he struggled against press coverage. 2025 outlook. Andy Reid is excited to expand Worthy's role, noting his versatility beyond just deep routes. Mahomes has praised his work ethic and football IQ, suggesting a bigger target share. However, Worthy's slight frame, 165 pounds, and press coverage issues could limit his consistency, especially if Rice returns healthy and Brown stays on the field. Upside. If Worthy improves his route running and physicality, he could emerge as Kansas City's WR1, leveraging his speed for 700 to 900 yards and 8 to 10 touchdowns. His red zone usage, 2 TDs in the opener, adds appeal in standard leagues. Bust risk. Worthy's 2024 production was inconsistent, with only 39 catches for 392 yards in his final 8 games. If he remains a situational deep threat or loses targets to Brown and Rice, he might hover as a WR4, disappointing at his likely WR35-40 ADP. Verdict. Upside. Worthy's late-season growth and Reid's 2024 recap. Rice was Kansas City's top receiver in 2023, averaging the 7th most yards per route run among rookie WRs over the past decade. A knee injury sidelined him for most of 2024, and off-field issues from a high-speed car crash could lead to a 4 to 8 game suspension in 2025. When healthy, he's Mahomes' go-to target. 2025 outlook: Rice is expected back for the regular season, but a suspension could delay his impact. His 2023 tape shows a polished receiver with after-the-catch juice, thriving on WR screens in Reid's offense. If he avoids further legal trouble, he's the Chiefs' WR1 when on the field. However, his recovery and potential absence make him a risky pick. Upside: a healthy Rice could dominate targets, posting 900 to 1,100 yards and 8 to 10 touchdowns as a low-end WR1 or high-end WR2. His chemistry with Mahomes and PPR-friendly role, Chiefs led the NFL in WR screens, make him a league winner if he plays 12-plus games. Bust risk: a lengthy suspension or lingering injury effects could tank his value, especially if Brown and Worthy build rapport in his absence. At a WR 25-30 ADP, he's a gamble if the suspension hits double digits. Verdict: bust risk. Rice's talent is undeniable, but the suspension uncertainty and injury recovery make him a risky pick unless he falls to WR 35+ in drafts. Jalen Royals, rookie sleeper or special teams stash. 2025 draft context: the Chiefs selected Jalen Royals in the 2025 draft, adding depth to a crowded receiver room. Analysts project Royals will primarily contribute on special teams as a kick returner, with limited offensive snaps as a rookie. 2025 outlook: Royals joins a WR group headlined by Rice, Brown, Worthy, and potentially Juju Smith-Schuster, leaving little room for immediate impact. His college production suggests playmaking ability, but he's behind established options in Reid's complex offense, which is notoriously tough for rookies to crack. Upside: if injuries or suspensions, e.g. Rice, open the door, Royals could flash as a deep league flyer, especially in Dynasty formats. His special teams role might earn him a roster spot, giving him time to develop. Bust risk: with Mahomes spreading the ball and Kelsey still commanding targets, Royals is unlikely to see enough volume for fantasy relevance in 2025. He's a waiver wire watch at best in redraft leagues. Verdict: bust. Royals is a dynasty stash with long-term potential, but his 2025 fantasy impact will be minimal barring major injuries to the top WRs. The Chiefs' offense, a fantasy goldmine with caveats. The Chiefs' passing game remains elite, with Mahomes projected for another 4,500 to 5,000-yard season and 35-plus touchdowns. Travis Kelce, despite turning 35, is a top 5 TE with a 24.8% target share, though his snap count may dip. The running back situation, featuring Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, and new additions like Qualin Jones, adds depth but limits pass-catching upside, funneling targets to the WRs and Kelce. However, the WR room's volatility is a concern. Rice's suspension, Brown's injury history, Worthy's inexperience, and Royals' limited role create a wide range of outcomes. Mahomes' tendency to spread the ball, 11 different pass catchers scored TDs in recent seasons, means no single WR may dominate, capping individual ceilings. Draft strategy recommendations: Brown, target in rounds 7 to 8 as a flex with WR2 upside. Pair him with a safer WR2 to hedge against injuries. Worthy, a round 9 to 10 pick for upside. He's a better fit in best ball formats where his boom weeks can shine. Rice, avoid unless he falls to round 10+ due to suspension risk. Stash him in keeper leagues if you can afford the bench spot. Royals, ignore in redraft leagues, consider as a late-round dynasty flyer. Final thoughts: the Chiefs' WRs offer tantalizing upside in one of the NFL's best offenses, but each comes with risks. Brown and Worthy are the safest bets for 2025 production, with Brown's experience giving him the edge early. Rice could be a league winner if his suspension is short, but his uncertainty makes him a gamble. Royals is a long-term project, not a redraft target. For fantasy managers, the key is balancing these players' ceilings with their floors, drafting them at value to avoid overpaying for the Mahomes bump. What are your thoughts on the Chiefs' WRs for 2025? Introducing the new weapons. Highlight the Chiefs' recent additions to the WR core, specifically mentioning the notable players and their backgrounds. Briefly discuss the departures of key receivers from the previous season and how it sets up an exciting opportunity for new players. Emphasize the potential for explosive offensive play with Patrick Mahomes at the helm. The upside, a deep dive. Analyze the skill sets and potential of each new WR, showcasing their strengths and highlighting their potential for fantasy success. Discuss the potential target share for each player based on their skill sets and role within the offense. Explain how their strengths complement each other and Mahomes' play style. The downside, concerns and risks. Acknowledge potential concerns with the new WR additions, including lack of proven production or experience in the Chiefs system. Discuss the potential for limited target share due to the presence of other established offensive weapons. Mention the risk of regression or injury hindering their fantasy value. Fantasy projections and draft strategy. Share preliminary fantasy projections for the new WRs, considering their potential roles and the Chiefs' offensive scheme. Provide advice for fantasy managers on when and where to draft the Chiefs' new WRs based on their risk tolerance and draft strategy. Emphasize the need for careful evaluation and research before selecting any of the Chiefs' new WRs in your fantasy drafts. Conclusion and call to action. Summarize the key takeaways of the video, reminding viewers of the potential upside and downside of the Chiefs' new WRs. Encourage viewers to share their own thoughts and predictions for the new WRs in the comments. Promote other relevant content on the channel, such as fantasy football draft guides or analysis of other NFL teams.